Chapter 10, we're going to take a look at two ideas, exponentials and logarithms. In 10.1, we start off with exponential growth and exponential decay. So you see in number 28 and 32, we're trying to figure out which one it is. If we're going to make that decision, we have to look at the b value. So in number 28, we're going to look at the 4. If that's a number that is larger than 1, that's going to be something that gets bigger. Think of your height. If you multiply your height by 4, you get taller and taller and taller. So because that b value is 4, 28 is going to be exponential growth. Now along the same line, 32, it looks like the b value is positive 5. So at first you might think that's growth. But take a look at what happened with the exponent. The exponent is a negative x. Negative powers cause reciprocals. So this is a sneaky way of writing y equals 0.2 instead of 5. It's to the 1/5 and then x. So now when you look at the b value, that's a fraction. And if we go back to the idea of your height, if I'm always multiplying your height by 1/5, you're getting shorter and shorter and shorter. So this is an example of decay. Beyond going back and forth between growth and decay, you might see something like number 34. All they do is give you 2 points, and they want an equation for that exponential function. Our equation is going to look like y equals ab to the x. Now, what information did they give us? One important point is 0,3. 0,3 is one of our two values. We know we have to come up with a and b. 0,3 is the y-intercept, where it crosses the y-axis. So that's going to be our a value. So now I have the equation y equals 3 times b to the x. I only need to know what b is. The problem is there's 3 variables, x, y, and b. That's where the other point comes in. Every single point is the form x comma y. So if I plug those two numbers into my equation, instead of y, I'll have 15. Instead of x, I'll have 1. And lo and behold, I have just one unknown. 15 equals 3 times b to the first. Solving for b shouldn't be too much trouble. I'll move the 3 by dividing. And I have that 5 is equal to b. We wanted an equation. We know we had to come up with a and b. We've done it. Our final answer is y equals 3 times 5 to the x. Last type of problem. We're going to be solving for a variable which happens to be an exponent. Now, there's not much in our tool bag or our bag of tricks to do that. The only way we're going to be able to solve something like 46 is if I leave 2 to the 3x plus 5 alone. But then 128 has to be written as 2 to some power. If I can have both bases the same, then I'm going to be able to solve it. Now 128 is a power of 2. Well, 2 times 2 is 4. Times 2 is 8. 2 is 16. You keep on going and you find out that 2 to the 7th gives you 128. Now we can use that one property. I have 2 to a power and 2 to a different power. So the powers have to be equal, which gives me an equation I can solve. 3x plus 5 is equal to 7. I'll subtract 5 from both sides. I'll divide by 3. And I have my solution. X is 2/3. When we get to a quiz or a test, you wouldn't want to stop there. You could take 2/3 and plug it in to the original for x, and that should make a true statement. The last problem for 10.1 is number 54. It looks a little bit like 46, but there's a big difference. We have both sides that have powers. 32 to the 5p plus 2 and 16 to the 5p. So there must be some way to write 32 and 16 with the same base. And there is. Both of them are factors or powers of 2. 32 is 2 to the 5th. So I can write that as 2 to the 5th and then 5p plus 2. 16 is 2 to the 4th. And then you have 5p. So now it looks like 46. We have 2 to a power and 2 to a different power. So those powers have to have the same inequality. 5 times 5p plus 2 should be greater than 4 times 5p. Now we'll solve. All right, we'll distribute the 5 on the left side, which gives me 25p plus 10. We'll take 4 times 5p for 20p on the right side. If I get the variables on the same side, I could subtract 25p if I wanted to, which gives me 10 is greater than negative 5p. And last but not least, I'll divide by negative 5. Don't forget with an inequality, if you divide by a negative, the inequality has to flip, and you have negative 2 is less than